Brother Jay Diff brought this one to my attention. And it was, I didn't forgot the kid's name. I should have typed it down.
Dom two times.
Thank you, sir. Do you want to intro this one? Because you know me, I don't want to mess it up, and then we'll go back into the topic.
Well, the premise of this topic is Dom is stating that he paid Benny the Butcher for a feature for an album that he's working on, and Benny has not delivered the stems or came through on his end of the deal after money has been exchanged. Now, mind you, this was all done through DMs.
Yep.
So use that.
It goes down in the DMs, huh?
Yeah, it goes down in the DMs. And, on this show, we a lot.
Tonight.
For the record, we haven't, nothing has been, it's not like this is a, huge story. We don't know what, there's nothing from Benny.
This is brand new.
It's just fresh. But the concept is not fresh. Like we always talk about, you've heard us say in the past, read your contract, go over your paperwork, be aware of what you sign, try to get somebody to read it that knows how to read it, if that's legal help, however you want to go about it. This kind of brought back some of those memories, but this time it's artist to artist versus artist to, record label, and we were talking about post show, how a lot of the younger artists and even established artists think, certain things are binding and, an agreement is an agreement. But when you slide into DMs and you write a couple specifics down, so money is exchanged, that's not going to hold as much weight as a physical contract or something that someone signed.
Because rule number one,
what's that?
These artists are not your friend. Just
Thank
because
you.
somebody call you bro, cuz, whatever, that's just slang. So these people aren't your friends, and they're hundreds of miles away from you, and you making an exchange through a DM or through PayPal or whatever currency exchange you use is immediate, and you're not going to get any immediate return on your investment if you get it back, period.
You have to think about as well, to his point, there's nothing legitimately binding by a DM. It's just kind of, we're just talking. Everything is understood. It's on the up and up. I got you. And then we have to wait and see if everything comes to fruition or not. And that can be tough for up and coming artists, because when you go into that from that status, it's like, man, are they going to send it? I hope they send it. Man, I hope they send it. You don't want to blow them up. You want to be respectful.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get so anxious because this feature could be the one for said person that might level them up. You know what I mean? So you don't want to get too anxious, but at the same time, I've already put my first half up. I paid the second half. This is the majority of my budget, maybe.
And to put it in context too, we don't know the exact arrangement that was between these two.
True. That's true.
And I don't know if anything was emailed or written anywhere in this particular situation.
Right.
But this is not anything new that's happened. And I hope that is righted. I hope if this young man has spent this money for this feature,
I agree.
Gets his stems and everything he needs to move forward with this, because obviously he's a fan of Benny,
right?
Or he wouldn't have asked him to be on a project in the first place.
Got a picture together,
right? But these people, a lot of us know who Benny is, but technically Benny is still a up and coming artist in the grand scheme of things. He's just 10, 20 steps ahead of a lot of people in the game.
I'd say he's just now getting to the point where he's starting to get his feet up underneath him now, but it took a while, to your point. And he's still not quote unquote.
He just got signed to Def Jam, right?
Yeah, right. He's just a lot of theirs has been independent up until this point. And even with Benny, it's like Lone made a point, and I'll kick it to you, Lone, but you made a point about we don't even know who's necessarily running his account. It might be, who knows who runs a lot of these artists' account or who you're actually listening to. Use the analogy of get Benny 3 or Benny 2 or whatever.
Right.
You remember we were talking about that?
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on this, man? Just overall alone from the artist standpoint.
I don't know. All right. So first off, I don't know, right? Because we don't know. This is literally just one person spouting off on Instagram, getting super upset. I'm guessing if he's super upset that it's probably true, but who knows how true
it's always two sides.
Who knows, and who knows what their deals look like between them, right? Or if there was any type of contract involved, or if he was just throwing it out there. Now, I will say that if even if there's no contract involved and you spend some money on some stuff, you expect to get that. You expect people to be solid.
100%.
You expect it.
Yeah. Give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and so like,
It's true.
And many of us as artists, and even people that have just moved in independent spaces where you had to work for yourself and all that stuff, we understand what it's like to, invest a little bit more and hope and just assume that things are going to turn out the right way. We understand the risk a lot of times, and most of us have been burnt a couple times.
Yes.
If not more than that. So.
Yes.
I feel for the guy if this is really kind of a foul situation, but at the same time, like, this is a business, and if you want to protect yourself in a business, then you need to make sure that you're doing good business work, which means that you need to have contracts in place, no matter how difficult or, like, oh, I don't want to talk to an attorney, get one.
Yeah,
straight up.
Like it's necessarily. Like if you find a homie that does it, but contracts are super important. CPAs are super important for artists if you don't even have, but that's another thing. But you have to have yourself, like, because in this situation, he can't do anything. If he's already paid him the money, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And I think based upon what you said, and I'm kind of looking at it here, it said that he sent something back to him. He just called the vocals weak and he won't clear it.
Sounds like the vocal from the description. The vocals may not have been mixed, and they might have been a little rough.
Or maybe maybe he doesn't.
He wants the stems.
He
didn't get the stems. Yeah.
So at that point in time, who knows? Maybe the price that he got wasn't for stems. Maybe it was for this. Because if you buy a beat and you buy a leased beat, you pay $25 for that or $50 for that, you get an MP3. You're not getting a wave.
Nah, for real.
And if you want something exclusive, all right, then we can attack a couple more 100, 300, 400, 500, 1,000, depending on who you are.
And if you want it tracked out on top of that,
that's going to be more.
Yes.
So
I think
maybe that wasn't
with that position. That definitely should have been communicated. Should have been communicated. The case, because from the DM, it looks like Benny is promising a lot. For this, I guess
$500.
Well, 1,000. I think the total was 1,000.
We only saw one of the payments.
Yeah, there was. He showed one of the payments, but he was in there saying that he's going to help him promote it,
run the numbers up,
or whatnot. And he had even brought up hosting his mixtape. All he wanted him to do was just the beginning. Yep. He agreed to that as well. Now that's a lot of stuff to agree to for $1,000.
Right.
I mean, an artist like Benny.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think his communication, if that wasn't what you were going to do, or if that cost more money, that should have been brought forward at the beginning, rather than leading him along thinking he's getting all of this for that.
For sure, but at the same time, in that dichotomy of situation, it is the person who is inquiring on the business to do their due diligence.
That is very true
in that aspect. So it would have been solid for Benny to do that. I agree.
Yeah,
if that's even the case, right?
Right.
I don't know.
And this is all speculation. We're just going off the limited stuff that we can see. But I like what Terry said when he talks about that's a lot for 1,000, which makes me think something may have been missed during the conversation.
Bro, you getting a Benny verse for $500?
And he's going to do an intro for the mixtape, and he's going to promote it for a G? That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So that makes me think something might have been miscommunicated on the back end or the front end prior to that money being exchanged. I can't see that being
or he's not actually talking to Benny, like you were saying.
Like
possible. Somebody could have been like, "Can you do a verse real quick?" Or they might even have access to some verses that he has.
Yeah,
and they could have sold a verse on his behalf, and he's typing.
It's not far fetched. Who knows? It's not far fetched to think that Benny has someone as busy as he probably is now that runs his IG and was like, yo, man, I've already paid. We already got the bread for it. Here's a verse request. Just do something for me real quick.
But 50 posts his own stuff.
Yeah, he do.
Kanye definitely posts his own stuff.
Oh my God, don't get me started on that.
Instagram DMs seems such a horrible way to do business.
Because the thing is, if the person doesn't, or you're not following the person, it goes into like another folder.
Yeah.
And like, cause I've
had to approve it.
Yeah, you got to approve
requests.
that, so like, like I said, it's hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that, okay, Benny, who's a part of Griselda, who had a situation with Shady, and who was signed as an individual artist to Def Jam, would be hitting people over the head for $500 for a verse. Something just doesn't add up there.
Bro, that's cheap.
Yeah.
Nah,
super cheap.
It's very cheap.
Yeah, super cheap.
I mean, if you can get a verse from Benny for a stack, We might as well do a whole album.
I'm sitting here thinking like I don't even have a project coming out, but if he's dropping 500 for a verse, I might
like that might be a good investment.
You know, if a G,
something like I said, something to add up here.
Yeah, if a G for Benny for a verse, hosting the mixtape in the beginning and promo, I don't know, man.
I'm with it.
Let's 500. I don't think Benny is trying to get out of bed to do all this at this point for $500.
I just don't see it, man.
And another thing too, that's interesting with this, and maybe you guys remember this, and this has maybe been a year or two ago, but I remember there being some sort of weird scam around hosting mixtapes and verses and stuff.
We talked
with artists, and I feel like Benny's name
was Game.
That was Game.
Benny was a part of that though.
Was he?
Yep. Yeah, he was a part of that. Game was a part of that. Rest in peace, DMX was a part of that.
But that's probably people selling their stuff for them, I'm guessing.
It could have been. It could have been.
Because you know the world of leasing verses is out there, which
Redman was in that wave.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to know more information on it at this point. But
it might not.
But if I was to give any advice, I'd just say do better. You just got to handle your business better.
Take care of you. Look out for yourself.
And that's not even a shot. That's just like if you're going to be in the industry, like people are going to get what they can.
Hey, listen, what Issa Rae say? The music business is the worst business she ever worked in.
Yep, and she's worked in a lot of them.
Let me ask y'all this. And this can apply to everybody at this table, and that could be from a standpoint you accepting the contract as a DJ, Lone obviously producing, performing, Jay Moore hosting, right?
Shoot, I write contracts, so
yeah, I know you do. But what I'm saying is, we use the example of
not for hire though.
we use the example of Instagram for this young man, right? So if you have a large contract, a fully written out contract that's in digital format, and you send that over via email, right? You know how they do the digital sign or whatever, the acknowledgement. Does that make you feel better if you said it? If everything is done that way,
there's a paper trail.
Paper trail.
Yeah. You gotta be able to prove it.
At the end of the day, you got to be able to prove it.
Got to be able to prove it, and then not only that, like shouts to Nicole in the chat. You not only have to be able to prove it, you have to be willing to go the distance to actually enforce. And to take legal action.
She's right.
Otherwise,
that paper is worth no more than your intentions to follow it up.
Yep. Very true.
You know what? I think sometimes people, sometimes artists will do this because they know.
Mike, you owe me a music video, by the way. I have it in contract.
Wow.
Anyways, neither here nor there. And it was a joke.
I think that's hilarious.
It's a joke and it's serious, but it's not even serious.
You better do that video. I lost my train of thought because I was laughing at Red August.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
What was I talking
about? Enforcing contracts and emails and stuff, and
yeah.
I don't know. I was trying to help you.
Say word.
I had a bar too, but I done lost it now. What y'all want to do now?
I don't know.
Bottom line, man, take care of your business, man. Look out for yourself because I know I was gonna say,
as best as you can.
Artists sometimes they know that the up and comer might not have the capabilities to push it all the way, go forward. So it's like, well, I just do what I can do. They ain't gonna chase me. They don't have the money to.
Right.
They can't afford the legal team. They can't afford this. Whatever it takes. So I think that might go into the equation sometimes also too.
Good.
When we were coming up, I mean, what lawyer did you know to talk to 20 years ago?
I knew a couple people, but I didn't know them like that. You know
exactly.
What I mean? So, and I didn't want to spend the money because I didn't have it.
Right. But your relationships and stuff that you develop now, you're a different person if something like that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I know people. I don't have an attorney. I mean, I have an attorney, but I don't have an attorney on file. Like ready to go for that. But I
don't have an attorney on retainer.
Yeah, I don't have one on retainer, but I know attorneys.
Yeah,
and I know music attorneys.
Yeah,
and so like it's only a phone call or a text message. You know what I mean? And I think that's important. Like I feel like the longer you go for, and you're in the music business, eventually you're going to want to have that ability to be able to access an attorney, whether he or she is your attorney or somebody you can get. And also, I mentioned CPAs too, because you see a lot of these artists out here going broke when they get a little bit of money. Get an accountant.
It also makes you look more serious about your craft when you have that paperwork on hand. Like my attorney will be sending you over the particulars in order for us to get this going. Let me know where to send that.
Yeah,
and then kind of go from there. because that's going to let you know if this whole situation is legit in the first place.
Yeah. Might just to send it to him like, do I have anything?
Mm-hmm.
But typically, if you're at that stage, you're not going to be upset about Instagram DMs. You're just going to let your attorneys handle it.
Yeah. You know, we're this era is not now. It's been going like this for a while, but you know, contracts, to me, it'll tell you what type of artist you are if a contract makes you uncomfortable. Because some people aren't.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Some contracts do make me uncomfortable, but it's
me too. But what I'm saying is just the idea of somebody having a business together. It's like, okay, I can respect that. To me, if somebody pushes it to me, I'm like, oh, okay, they own it.
Yeah,
they're serious about what they want from me.